Okay, so we really just have a couple of things that are pretty easy and then one thing to discuss a little bit. All right, so first thing up would be the abstract approval. I think I think there's some stuff you still gotta sign back there, you
Oh, okay.
yeah, but Christina.
Yeah,
So I'll move that.
second, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Recording in progress.
So you're gonna get this going. You're gonna, just got goosebumps.
No, I don't think it's me,
I know.
not this time. Well, no. It's hilarious. It's just not going on forever though.
Video. But,
Yeah, it's like a slap back.
no, I just want to hear the drums.
Yep. All right. Public hearings, presentations. Mike usually comes in at about 6:30. Cause if there's a TC3 meeting or something, so let's come back to that. All right, so first thing. Well. I almost heard that go. Again. All right, anyway, the first would be the I'm sorry,
That's. No, I got it.
We got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna share this. If everybody can see it. Okay, so this is the section of the sewer district that goes into the Cuga Heights, and so Cuga Heights raised their rates, so we need to keep up with that. But though we're doing this in two parts, so this is not the full amount that Cuga Heights raised, the fund balance in that district is high enough for us to do it in two parts. We're gonna do this now and then another one in either December or January. I think we'll probably do it in December, so it'll take effect in January of 26 for the second part of it.
Is that what every municipality is doing?
Well, no, this is the Cuda Heights is not part of the Ithaca plan.
No.
No, they have, what happened, just like what's going on in Ithaca though, is all the capital improvements that had to happen to
Oh,
just keep the
okay,
plant
okay.
going at its current capacity. So that's
It's
why
just
the
that
rates are going up.
that's gotcha.
The village of Dryden did indicate they may change theirs twice.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
So, anyway, so I'll move this.
Second. Yes.
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 Yes. Next up are employee appointments. So these are for appointment, first one's for planning, it's a code enforcement. It's the one's a full-time code enforcement officer and the other is part-time. Matthew Brannaman and is the part-time and Braden Wolf is full-time. So move that resolution first.
Second. Yes.
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 Yes. Right, and then the second one is a appointment of a part-time accounting assistant for Dryden Fiber. Matthew Kinest, so move that.
Second.
Councilperson Margus Mendez.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Yes.
Yes, all right. Um. Right, and this next resolution is to, oops. To authorize, me to sign the agreement with the village so that they use our code enforcement and planning department for their, it's an intermunicipal agreement. For the provision of, those services to the village of Dryden.
Was this something we've been doing?
Yeah, we've been doing this for
So It's
years.
just a while.
This is just the update, the newest agreement. With,
And is this good for 1 year? Or-
yeah, just we do it every year, yeah.
So we did it in January. No? Okay,
We do it on the village.
Oh, got it.
Year.
got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you move this, I'll second it.
Yep.
Councilperson Margus Mendez.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes. All right.
I'm used to spring being here.
I know it's
That
starting
rhythm.
here.
Right.
So that before count.
And then this next resolution is to add, Brian Finner to the list of approved electrical inspectors for the town. Um. And. Dave's. I'm looking.
Yeah, I saw the email, I mean, I guess I didn't realize we had to maintain a list. Is that right? How many do we have on the list right now?
It was probably about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I mean, a few of those are in the Rochester area, so this gives us more real local.
Yeah, yeah. Right,
Yeah, all right, so I'll move that.
second.
Councilperson Margus Mendez.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and then. The next one up is. A resolution. Authorizing me to, well, the town, there's me to sign documents to apply for, receive funding under the. 2025 Community Development Block Grant Program. This is for the Henshaw Village.
Henshaw Village,
Yeah, so
manufactured homes.
we're applying for. Funds for their sewer. Yeah, so this is
It's
just.
just the sewer.
Yeah, this is just for the sewer issue that they're having. Their septic, keeps failing. Keeps having problems, and a couple of years ago, they wanted to go through this, but then they stopped the process, and now they're at a point where they need it.
So they'll have to make some investments beyond what we're installing,
Oh, yes.
correct? And
Yep.
remind me, can any other entity tie into this sewer line besides the mobile home park?
Initially, because of the timeline, we're gonna do this as an out-of-district user, so it'll just be the mobile home park residents. We're gonna set it up as a gravity line on Hanshaw Road, so that in the future, we can have the option of extending the district and servicing more beyond the park.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, because it's gonna pass 4 other properties. One of them is one that there was that guy who was had his like a daughter, his own to the vet school or something. Remember him? He was like a dentist or a doctor or something. It was like, he wanted to develop the corner right across from the lumber place. Do you remember that?
Across
It was like around, it was like 6 years ago, showed up, talked about it, disappeared.
Oh, okay, the larger lot.
The larger. lot,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this
no,
would
I haven't
pass-
had anything since then. Yep.
Yeah, this would pass that, but.
Yep,
Yeah,
and it would pass a large Cornell parcel, so,
yeah.
so there's development potential in that Hanshaw neighborhood.
Yep.
Is that mobile home park at capacity right now and?
There are 121 pads, I believe 149 was the maximum in there.
So would this allow a few more?
The sewer would have the capacity, yes, we're definitely gonna put in it's probably an 8-inch or more line.
Yeah, and we passed the resolution with the SJC the other day.
Okay, for the will
In
serve.
favor, yeah, the will serve for this, so.
So this would be up to 500,000 or what do we get?
1.5 million,
1.5, great.
and that doesn't pay for the whole thing.
It's there.
The grant would be up 1.5, the Cook Properties would come up with the balance.
Yep. Okay, so I'll move this.
Second.
Councilperson Burris Monday.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes. And. Maybe I just jump to the easy one and then we'll do the phase one thing next.
Okay.
We just have to get, yeah, so the next one we'll do is the petition for annexation. Village of Dryden. So that'll be really quick.
6H.
Yep.
We'll do that tonight.
Yeah, we'll just do it tonight because there's nothing. Yeah. This will. So there were a couple of documents Nate sent to us, findings, resolutions. With the exhibit A of the Dryden property petition. Board of trustees of the village. Annexation and seeker negative declaration and. Their, I guess, seeker resolution declaring. Lead agency. Um. So, I mean, basically what we're doing is we're accepting those findings. So the resolutions are. It's kind of, first I'll scroll through the findings so they show up in the recording. So these are, I'm just gonna scroll through these are this is the findings document. And this is primarily being done, remember, because of the sewer. District, so that there won't be an out of district user anymore. There was a joint public hearing. Let's see, on April 10th. It's just details the notice, the dates of the hearings. Village attorney presided over the hearing, over the joint hearing. We didn't receive any comments and no one from Dryden Central School District appeared. There were no written comments received prior to the hearing. And that just details things that the village attorney did with the petitioner and the confirming that the application was proper. The town continues to receive town property tax, so it doesn't change anything for us. And it's, a lot of this has to do with like showing consistency with village zoning and such, so.
And allowing a business to expand.
Yep. So the resolutions here, there are, it's just, I guess, one that we're gonna vote on, but it says the petition substantially complies in form and content with Article 17 of General Municipal Law. It's deemed to be in the overall public interest, and 3, that it's approved by the village trustees. And so I'll move this.
I'll second it. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes. All right. Okay, and then. Just next up, we'll do the phase 1. Zoning rewrite. So the planning board. Or the committee. That John's heading up. Provided us with a. Where's. The scope summary.
The ZAG.
Yep. All right. I don't know, you and. So I think Donald's gonna lead this one.
This committee's been doing a knock-up job of adding an extra meeting to planning board's usual obligations and taking what our consultant had proposed as a scope of work and adjusting it to fit more precisely what we want done in the first phase of our zoning rewrite, which followed, of course, a comprehensive plan process. And I think it's just important for the community and anyone interested in this to know that, you know, this is not the complete package of zoning. That's a big job. We thought we had some pressing needs that we really needed to address first, particularly we have a moratorium in place that we put in place last August and that expires at the end of this year. And there's no way we'd get all the zoning done by the end of this year. So we made a practical decision to do phases and so this is a scoping document for the first phase, which we will send back to our consultant. And then she'll have a crack at the wording, which will come back to us and give us another chance to review that. This is not the concrete writing of the planning document. This is just the guidelines for our very capable consultant, and God, she's been great. She's just been great listening to us and bringing her vast experience to the table. So there are a lot of things that this committee has gone over to modernize our zoning, make it more readable from the jump, from the first introductory statement. So it's readable what we're looking at to the general public, and to make it clear what exactly we're trying to do with our zoning update. So I want to thank the committee and Tony's not here, but John in particular and others who have participated in this process for being so diligent about this. I attended most of these meetings. I had some conflicts with my day job, so Springbok attended the ones about two or three that I couldn't attend, and from what I can tell, this really represents what I had some input on, and of course what other members of this committee did a lot of research on. But I'm wondering if you folks want to add anything to this and you know, color in any blanks.
Yeah, Dan, I think you did a good summary. We haven't come with presentations. We heard
That's good.
questions. If you guys have any? Provide some background.
Well, you did a lot of research into the battery storage issue that I want to thank you and the other members of the committee for doing. And you know, not preventing it or prohibiting it, but prescribing it fairly tightly on where it can go and what areas and setbacks are very clear about this energy storage system.
Yeah, in fact, the point I'd make about that is, the governor formed I can't remember what the name of the committee was, but it was a group to study best practices in safety and fire protection for battery energy storage system. And they published a whole list of recommendations, which I have taken pieces of and put in the document that you have. But many of their recommendations are for processes that don't currently exist. So for example, a fire response entity that would specialize on battery energy storage systems that would be able to mobilize within 4 hours of a fire. That doesn't exist right now, but
Right.
that's something that we would require. So, as you pointed out, we're not outlining it, but
Right.
we're doing the best we can to say that if these are coming to Dryden, they're gonna be done in the best possible way. And some of those ways aren't quite here yet.
And it could be that some of these things are more fleshed out by the time we finish this process.
Yeah, a lot of changes going on right now in the industry.
Yeah,
Just curious, when you say fire protection, 4 hours, what, you know, roughly what they were asking for, what they were looking for or recommended? As far as the fire response?
What the state's working group?
Yeah, what they found. I'm just curious, then that was, I'm thinking of first comes to my mind is that Caswell, they're all like, oh, hold on. For just what we're here, we're talking about with fire protection service. Just I trying to better understand it myself and what we be looking at as a department or as a community.
Yeah, so the committee that produced the report, one of their key findings was that, regional, local fire companies aren't prepared for this, they don't have the resources for it. And that there needs to be a resource put in place, that would have the skills and, equipment required to deal with the hazards associated with the battery energy storage.
So there's some.
They didn't really specify what the things were, that's why I'm saying that, they were saying that it doesn't exist right now. The entity that's required to act as a response, that needs to be designed and created, so it hasn't been done yet.
That's good to know, but and I appreciate you guys taking that concern and looking into it with that. From a fire department standpoint and a community standpoint, both, that's. Trying to do what we can to do the right thing for our communities. Well,
Yep.
that's awesome.
Ray and I met with fire chiefs and had a discussion about this, so some of the recommendations that are in the document that these guys are looking at are also. From the fire chiefs,
They don't mark that.
we got to
I'll tell me to share. Sorry if I asked a question that was already been answered.
that's cool.
Well, what John is saying is that this interagency working group is still refining their recommendations, right? At the state level.
They have issued their final report, and my understanding is that right now, it's in the process of pieces of it being put into the state fire code. And, beyond that, I don't know what the status is.
so Greg, did you have something you wanted to add to?
No, I'm just there to support John and the rest of the committee.
Okay, cause I know we got a email from Martha saying the housing committee had recommendations. I mean, Leo, do you wanna talk about that? Or, I mean, you're on the housing committee too.
I'm not in house today.
Oh, not anymore? Okay.
So, as I understand, firstly, I want to thank you, John, and the committee for the fantastic work you did. The document takes housing as one of the priorities very clearly and took most of our, input that was put in the comments that the housing committee did. So I want to thanks for your I just want to make a point about the issue of, a process. So this is just the first phase of the scope. So there will be more time to add additional comments, so, to further the document clarity and so forth later on, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So
So,
I hope that those comments that were added out of the committee's work, apparently, can be then taken care of, or at least, provide with an answer, response.
okay, so,
So just to clarify, Nan will take this document and start her draft of a new phase one zoning.
She will start writing, edits and additions to our zoning document once she gets this scope definition.
And she can't start until we okay this.
That is correct.
And how long do we think that will take her first, before she gets the first draft out? The
I
idea.
didn't bring her schedule along, but as I recall, 2 or 3 months, something like that. And, I haven't discussed it with her, but I would expect that it would sort of come in pieces, chapters, what have you, so that we wouldn't get the whole thing at one time. And then we can begin reviewing it as we get the pieces, but, that's a discussion I've not had with her.
So if she comes back, with, she had mentioned, for instance, that the definition of a family and family-based, multifamily housing is kind of a loaded term and has been challenged in court. Went down a couple of rabbit holes reading about case law about, towns that have put the word family in their zoning, and you have to be very careful how you use that now, but not necessarily exclude the word entirely. It's still so common in code and zoning that there is a legally accepted definition of family now. I take it she would come back and offer that to us in this draft, what she interprets as the contemporary definition of family for housing.
Yeah, and Dan, that's a good example of, I think, many aspects of zoning that are highly nuanced.
Yeah. And that you have to really drill down to make sure that you've got the most current New York State Department of State recommendation based on case law, and it's fascinating. Oh, boy.
okay, and then,
Jason?
yeah,
Yeah, there are additional comments that the housing committee offered, and it was a complicated process working with the zoning advisory group, and there's some oversights, and I think if the document that you all have could just be folded into the scope that, the phase one document, then you'd have a comprehensive and one coherent document Nan can work with. That's the purpose of trying to get these comments in there now and not kind of wait till later. It would just add confusion. The housing committee is, as I hope you know, like I emailed everybody earlier Monday and then again today, that the housing committee went line by line through Nan's audit, made a lot of comments, sent that back in February to the planning board. A lot of the comments are included, but there are some things that are left out, and that's what I was emailing you on Monday and also again today. And I see an email from Spring, who I know is out of town. I don't know if you have seen that, but she sort of was supporting incorporating those items.
I can read her email because she's not, I guess she must not have a Wi-Fi or anything to get on right now.
Right.
Right, or I'll just show it on the screen, actually.
Martha, can you hear me?
Yep.
So you understand that what the ZAG produced goes to Nan now, and she will start her work and then send that back to us. And if we see something missing, the zoning advisory group can then amend through discussion and a vote of the.
Right.
So
My point is, there's no point in leaving these things out now. I'm
Okay.
trying, the committee made our comments back in February, and I'm just trying to get those incorporated in
Okay.
this initial scope so that nobody has to like go back and remember, did that get included? This is not that hard. It's not controversial. It could easily be folded into the scope that you already have.
Then Dan, why don't you finish?
Okay, again, we have to respect the committee process. That's how we set this up. And we'll have another opportunity and many more bites of the apple if what Nan puts back to us doesn't fulfill our expectations. The ZAG will then meet and discuss and say, hey, I want a better definition of family, or I want a better definition of short-term rentals, or any number of things that we see missing.
Well,
This
it's
is not say on what the document looks like, and we have to respect the committee process. We can't do this through emails that are sent late in the process.
actually, the memo that you have was sent late in the process. These things were in the February memo from the Housing Committee.
Okay.
All right, I have a question. So what Spring said that there were two things in the about section about page 14, a B and C were missing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I guess they're supposed to be there anyway.
Yeah, they were in Nan's audit. These are her comments. And it's
That's one, hold on, I'm just going off her, I mean, we can see it on the screen, so it's.
Right. Yeah, I just pointed out that they were left out of the phase one scope that you have, and there was no discussion of these at the committee. It's unclear why they were left out. I think it was an oversight. There was a lot of detail, and these were left out, but I think they actually matter if she doesn't include these if these aren't included in the scope, she will think that the ZAG disagreed with them. Since this was part of her initial audit, it seems it's more complete. Since the ZAG didn't disagree, we should just include that. I mean, this isn't here, in my own role as a legislator, there are 100 times when we work on this kind of scope for something would come out of a committee and the full legislature can modify it further. You don't have to you don't have to just take what the committee said. The legislature would often add in their own tweaks, etc. So I'm just asking that before this goes to Nan, because it would be way less confusing to have one coherent document that comes from the town board.
To finish this, I have questions, that's why I'm talking, and okay. Before we, so this B and C, were they just cut, like deleted by accident, or was that the one, I mean, I don't know if you can read them up there. It said, in the MC district, the limitation of 20 dwelling units per building may also be limiting, and I suggest this could increase. I guess it's a comment.
This is part of Nan's in the
Mark-
memo.
Yeah, as that is, I can only ask John, I'm really asking John because he's the chair of that, so. As an additional density is appropriate, and then C said you may not want to allow any single family units in the MC district. Or if they are, perhaps only in combination with other types of housing to be provided. Were those supposed to be in there, or were they taken out? I don't. Cause I wasn't at those meetings, so I don't, and I think Spring was at the last
The
one.
reason I haven't read through any of this stuff, maybe it's not clear that this is before us right now, it's right,
Yeah.
that's happening in this meeting, it's happened in all the SAG meetings. It's highly inappropriate to be happening outside the SAG process.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's hard for me to hear that, but I think this was
It's inappropriate that's happening outside the the advisory group process.
You know, I sent it to you, John, before you finalized your document on Friday. You had it in your inbox. I tried to raise these things during the ZAG meetings. They were in your hands as of February 18th. And
Mark, I'm not gonna argue with you or discuss anything with you in this meeting. You have wasted so much time in the ZAG meetings and have not been helpful to us, and I don't want that to continue.
Right. And then,
perhaps the process could be more clear going forward, because, you know, a couple of us had to actually sit down with Ray and Gina in a separate meeting outside of ZAG just to try to understand your process. And I understand we were kind of tossed into the middle of it after you'd gotten started, so that was part of the confusion. But I'm just trying to make this as easy as possible for the consultant, so that she has the benefit of the full group. The housing committee is very appreciative that we were asked to comment on the zoning rewrite, and we were dedicated to doing it. We spent more than 2 full meetings working on our document so that you all had it in hand months ago. And, you know, we're just trying to offer the focus that we have on housing in this really important process.
I'm not seeing anything in this list that we can't address at a later point as a committee. And I think just to respect again, Martha, the committee process, I'd be much more comfortable doing that in an organized fashion with the full ZAG group present to
Yeah.
weigh in on this. It's not that you're anything that unusual. I see this list, but these are things that we can insert at a later point and still maintain the committee process that we set up.
yeah,
Leonardo, I wasn't sure that was your point of view.
My point is, well, we have a conversation already, and yeah, I agree. If these points can be added later in a later stage of the process, I think it will be fine. I don't think there are you know, things that cannot be added later on. You know, as we go along with the writing that the consultant will be producing for us in the next few months.
okay. So then I guess,
I wanna also emphasize that I wanna also respect the process of the planning board as it was explained to me, so.
okay, so then, I guess, do you want to make the motion or want me to?
I'd like to make the motion that we accept the recommendations of the ZAG committee and advance these on to our consultant as soon as possible.
All right,
So-
I'll second it.
Did you have a comment?
Anything else, guys?
Is there anything you want them to work on first, like the battery storage or the moratorium?
The moratorium first.
Yeah,
So you might add that to your
That's a fair point. Thank you. I mentioned that in my opening remarks, but we've got to get that. And we need to show just for our own legitimacy that we're taking action. If you put a moratorium in place, you know, otherwise it just looks like you're hitting a pause button with no justification. So I would have her address the data processing and crypto mining provision first.
yeah. All right, and that's Martha, it's one last, did you have something else you wanted to say or? was your
Yeah.
hand-
I regret the sense that the input from the housing committee is seen as a waste of time. I really, that's quite insulting, and I want to say that I think it's a good thing that there's finally now staff assigned to take minutes and record the meetings of the ZAG, because previous to this past meeting, the minutes have been quite incomplete and unofficial, and they've needed significant correction. So I think it's too bad. This is a real important process, and people have to trust what's going on, the Housing Committee has put a lot of effort into this. I'm just one member, and the committee has spent a great deal of time working on this, and I was appointed by the committee to be a part of the ZAG, and I'm going to continue to speak up for the things that the Housing Committee has asked us to pay attention to.
Thank you, Martha.
Right, so I move that we accept this.
I seconded.
Councilperson already said that.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, thanks, everybody. All right, and then, the next thing I got, just we're not gonna obviously vote on anything with this one, this week, but. You should know from like the emails I sent, so Nate's gonna be doing a executive session with us tonight about some of the litigation that's going on, but. He's leaving Coughlin and Gerhart to open his own practice. And then so I know he's wanting, he's gonna he's proposing retainer agreement for us if we want to stick with him. And Coughlin and Gerhart is also written, me, just, we know
They wrote us.
they wrote us
They
and.
wrote us.
Yeah, so next week, I think we should just take that up, just look at the stuff I said, because it all happened, really came down this week. And then I think. I'll talk more about it next week, but I think there's room for both, so. But that'll be a longer discussion next week, I think.
But we're with Nate until the end of the month, or
Hey, Nate's still at Coughlin Gerhart till the end of the month regardless, so they're still just, with them.
but we need to make a decision next week.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of ongoing things and,
Okay.
continuity is important, so. And then next week for there's three, it's Juneteenth, so. I mean.
We get paid time and a half, though. Is that right?
But, so we scheduled two public hearings. We're gonna be adding one about the CDBG block grant for next week as well. But that's all we have on the agenda right now. Besides, since we'll be here, we'll talk about the legal services situation afterwards.
What about our staff support meetings? People like Ray.
Right, yeah.
He doesn't.
Oh, yeah, well, he'll get
He'll
comment,
get
yeah.
comp time. Okay.
Yeah.
You're okay working on Thursday?
I might zoom in, but we'll see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, that's how, what we're gonna go,
I think we overlooked the need to reschedule this meeting. It's not that we don't respect Juneteenth, we do. But I think when we were organizing back in January,
I just didn't think, yeah.
we
Yeah.
got distracted and didn't pay attention to the calendar,
Right. But
so
we can,
I don't plan to do any other work that day.
okay, yeah. All right, so that's all except for the executive session, that's all we have for tonight, so. We can go into the back, I guess, and I'll bring the computer.
So we can, okay,
Yeah. So talk about the litigation.
I do all-
The articles, part of litigation,
thanks for coming,
yeah.
appreciate what you do.
You know what I'm talking about? Great.
So say good night to.
Yeah, I can.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
No, we wouldn't be taking any action, so I gotta move Lee and Marshall, I guess, if they're gonna wanna stick around to the end, I gotta move them into where the breakout room. We'll put in the waiting room.
Do you wanna just send a note real quick to everybody that we're going into executive session, in case they're having dinner while watching us? You put us on mute.
If they're being loud, let me know when you're joining.
Yep.
Wasn't here last night. So good.
Okay, or Nate, yeah, we're ready whenever you are.
Yep.
Okay, then we got, I guess. So we still have that, the thing with Aetna.
Yep.
Yep. So, but we started, did we just start receiving documents or something? Cause I got a link. Thought I got a link this week, yesterday about,
A bunch of documents.
yeah, there were,
Oh, that is relating to the FOIL request. So we'd sent that in back in January. They were getting real delayed in responding. We were gonna tell them, hey, one last chance, but then they actually gave us a first tranche of documents. That was circulated.
okay, so we just, closed out executive session, no action was taken, and it's 7:20 PM. So we're adjourning the meeting. Thanks.
Sends Bambi a message.